How are you? It's Curly and Bailey here for Bailey and Curly Unfiltered, and we're up to, I think, Bales. I think we're
Hang
up
on,
to episode
let me
9.
let me have a little look. Is it 9? Is it?
I think so. I think just off the top of my head, that's the number that seems to be popping in at the moment.
Yes. Our last one
Episode
was
9.
yes. Last one
So
was
how,
third of
so how you
November.
been? You've been free as a bird down there in Melbourne, which is a bit of a difference. What's been happening?
Yeah, no, it's been good. It's like sort of forget that COVID's happening
Yeah.
now that everything's open and like I've sort of zoned off. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's open, which is good. Like mental health's gone up.
Yeah.
It's just good to. You don't realise how bad it was until you're back to how we are now.
Yeah.
You know,
Can you get to a pub?
yeah, I went out for dinner, got on the beers, and that was a weird experience because I got there
can
early.
imagine.
I got there early, and one of my friends were in there yet. They weren't. They literally would. As soon as I walked in the door, they came in straight behind me. And I remember asking the lady, like, what are the rules at the pub? Like, you have to, like, your QR code.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you have to wear your mask from the bar to the toilet, which no one did anyway. And, but other than that, it felt pretty normal apart from the checking in and table service.
I think it's crazy. Have you got a fan or something going on? There's a bit of clicking in the audio.
Do you want me to turn it off?
Yeah, I just turned mine off, so we're going to have to sweat through this one.
Oh, good. So. What I'm going to do is I'll take this off.
All right. And that's a visual for the podcast listeners. So.
That is a visual. Everyone can see how sunburned I'm red.
Absolutely.
Everywhere.
So what I find interesting around this whole concept of masks, America's getting like a zillion cases each and every day, and everyone's got to wear a mask everywhere. And then we saw the case with you guys. I'm still getting that clicking, so I don't know whether it's my issue or what. But anyway, we'll soldier on. I apologise to the listeners if the clicking comes out.
I can't hear anything, so hopefully we're all good.
Yeah. So what I just find it amazing that these cases seem to be multiplying the more we wear masks. So we haven't even thought of wearing masks up here in Queensland. And even though we were encouraged to, no one does. So.
Nah, it's funny. Today I walked because the latest for us is we don't have to wear them outside anymore.
Okay, well that's positive.
Yeah, and today, I'll walk when I, from my car into the shopping centre, I won't wear it, and then as soon as I get in the shopping centre, I put it on. But today it was funny. There was an elderly couple, and when this lady walked past me, she put her face. She literally held the mask in front of her face when walking past me. I turned around. She put it down. It's like
that's going to give you so much protection.
Yeah, that's the thing, and
that's what fear does. That's what fear does. We've created a monster.
So. We have something I put up today, and I've been very, very quiet on the socials lately.
Yeah.
I said instead of starting a war, they created a virus. That's something I've heard. That's something I've heard, but I also attached it to a photo.
Yeah.
Which says, if the first lockdown worked, why a second one? If the first lockdown didn't work, why a second one?
Yeah.
When you really think about that, if the first one had worked, then you really shouldn't need a second one.
Yeah.
And if you've done a lockdown that didn't work, why would you do something again that didn't work?
Yeah, and it just really worries me. And as you know, I was due to be in Adelaide last weekend, but
that
crazy. On Sunday, we're talking with the event company that we're doing the workshop through. We're all excited. Monday morning, we fill out our our border declaration from the South Australian end.
Yep.
So all
Yep.
the paperwork. We turn on the radio while we're having a coffee, and they say 17 new cases of COVID in Adelaide. And I said to Sharon, I reckon we won't go. I reckon we'll shut the borders with that. And at 2 o'clock that day, Anastasia shut the borders. So, but
See, that's the fucked up thing. There's
it
this
is.
like, as of next week, everywhere's open to Victoria. I'm not sure about Northern Territory, but once these borders are open, their plan is to keep them open. But while we're sort of still in that, there's this close, open, close, open.
Yeah.
And
Well, the thing up here in Queensland, so all of a sudden we've had this huge influx of holiday booking. You know, if you read the paper and the papers are saying the surge in accommodation and holiday booking and rentals it's been through the roof. The
Yep.
reality, however, is that none of that's guaranteed because of the way that the Queensland government has operated during this COVID time. So all of those people could fundamentally lose their dough if all of a sudden New South Wales has a breakout or Victoria has a breakout or heaven forbid Queensland has a breakout. Because the only thing that's going to stop that is this time there was like 80%. There was some polls done, and there was 80% of Queenslanders that said we should not have shut the border with South Australia, which is a huge turnaround from everyone voting Anastasia back in to keep us all safe. There was just a chain reaction of people saying, "No, that's too soon, guys. It's 17. We got to live with this." So
exactly right. What you said, we have to live with it. And 17, you know, I'm sure there are a lot of people in South Australia complaining, and obviously I'm from there, and I sort of, like I said, I haven't been on social media much, not posting, and for like obvious reasons. But one would be, I'm assuming a lot of SA people would have been complaining when they went into a 6-day lockdown, fucking days, which turned into 4.
yeah.
And my reaction would be like, just shut up. You've got nothing on us. Like, we went through fucking hell and back here in Victoria.
And it's probably the right thing for him to do, to hit it hard, hit it early, and based around that young fellow with the pizza shop who said that he contracted it. Now, that in itself has so many ramifications. I mean, this guy's working multiple jobs. He's trying to do the right thing for his family, and of course, the last thing he wants is to suddenly be out of work or not be able to work because the place where he works is shut down. So we almost compel people to lie when it comes to contract tracing. You know.
Yeah, like you're getting treated like a criminal if you have the virus.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's there's a long way to go with this, as we both know, mate. Hey.
Yeah, there is, and with the vaccines coming in for international travel, or you have to do a 14-day quarantine at your own expense.
Can you imagine that? I mean, are we serious that you've got to have a jab before we jump on a plane? Are we like? To me, that just is such a far-fetched overreaction.
It is, because if everyone said no, then no one's going to travel, then the economy is just going to crumble even more.
Yeah, what are we going to do? Jump on a boat? Is it the same thing to jump on a boat? Or you know, and the thing with the South Australia border closures, right? So what I found, like WA opened the borders to SA, and they were open for a grand total of 2 hours before they were closed again. So
really?
In that 2 hour period, there were people on a plane because, of course, they got advance notice that the borders were opening.
Of course,
there were people on a plane from Adelaide to WA, only to land when they got to Adelaide, WA, Perth, to be told they either got a quarantine now for 2 weeks at their expense, or they jump on a plane and go back to Adelaide. I mean, how confused would those people have been? And then,
so that's fucked.
And then we've got people on the Garn train, and they're going from Adelaide to Darwin.
Yeah.
They get stopped at Alice Springs, marched off the train, put into a quarantine unit, and then the train's turned around and sent back to Adelaide with them.
So that's fucked.
It's ridiculous.
It's a knee-jerk reaction, and they just can't keep doing that.
Yeah. I mean, we're a nation of 26 million people. 17 people get a virus. And I
Yeah.
mean, this, everyone says it's a deadly, deadly virus, but you look at the stats, and every stat tells us it's not as deadly as what we're being
No,
made to believe.
and for the listeners, we're going to get into weight loss very soon.
Yes, sorry,
But
we
no,
did,
no,
we are.
no, we are very soon. But before we get into it, something that sort of goes with weight loss and this. I was having this conversation with a girl the other day, and she was like, I was like, oh, like she was talking about coronavirus, and she knew all the information, and I said, oh, you must watch the news a lot, and she's like, nah, I read a lot. And then she was trying to say how deadly it was, and I said it's the confirmation bias, which is just because you've done a lot of research on something, you then believe it, and then you think that that's the truth, and that's a lot of things with weight loss, and we will get into that shortly.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, a Broadway actor performer got it, and he got into a coma and all that stuff, and it got into his lungs. And one thing I wish I said to her, because it came to me 5 minutes after I'd left, not everyone that gets the virus is going to die. Not everyone that gets it is going to go to a coma, and that's anything in life.
Yeah.
Like, people talk about sugar being so addictive. No, it's not. Some people, they might eat it and then they can't stop. But for others, we can have a chocolate bar, a Mars bar, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And that's everything.
I agree. And just because just because a 30-year-old died from COVID, and there have been a couple of cases where that has been the case. They're the exceptions. It's not the rule.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like not everyone who crosses the street gets struck by a car. So, but every now and again someone does. So that doesn't mean that we stop crossing the road.
Exactly.
So it's it just continues to amaze me. And the American election has just been such an eye-opening thing. Whichever side of politics that you're on, whoever you support. I mean, while I saw some amazing stat that something like 80% of Republicans, which is Donald Trump's side, believe that the election was flawed and rife with fraud.
And that's because they're Trump supporter.
Yeah, but no matter which way you cut and dice it, 74 million of people voted for Trump. And out of them, 80% of them believe that the election was a fraud. So that is a huge chunk of American people that are sitting there not accepting or just believe that the system's fucked. And then you've got like the other side. Like, I still cannot believe fundamentally that over 80 million people voted for Joe Biden. Now, in recent history, the most popular president has been Obama, right? By a long shot. But he also had some severe people that didn't like what Obama was doing. So he got nowhere near those votes. And then we've got Joe, who stumbles over words, who's going to be the oldest president when he gets through his first term. And apparently 80 million, there's so much stuff that doesn't make sense. And if I was an American, I would be wanting them to investigate what the fuck happened.
Yeah, me too.
You just cannot say that people voted to get out of Trump. That's just a broad statement here, and there's just so many things that don't make sense. Anyway, let's talk weight loss, because as you know, I stuffed my back again the other day. Fell off ladder back in a couple of weeks back, jolted my back, and I've jolted it twice this week so far. So I'm in some serious hurt at the moment. And I keep thinking to myself, my gut probably doesn't help me. So I've got a bit of a gut at the moment. The COVID belly. So how you been going with it? Because for some of the listeners that may not know, we initially met through weight loss.
Yeah, and happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
Yeah, to all those people who can't have Thanksgiving in the States.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, me and Tony, we met through
Yeah.
a weight loss program,
Organisation. Yeah.
organisation, we'll say.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't know about you, Tony. I'm actually really excited to talk to you about this because we actually haven't spoke about this. So
Yeah.
for me, that was the first time I'd ever tried to lose weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was 20 and, I lost 48 kilos in 3 years. And
Great story.
yeah, how much did you lose?
I went when I was doing the program. I started at about 105, and my lowest ever weight was 79.3.
Yeah,
So
wow.
about
Yeah,
25 kg. So
yeah, yeah. And but I really struggled because this program, it was all about protein, carbs were bad.
yeah,
You had to eat 6 meals a day, and coming from someone who's never lost weight before,
yeah,
like, and it quote unquote worked. I'm like, this is amazing. I thought protein burn fat. I
yeah,
thought carbs stored as water and fat and
yeah,
all this stuff. And, it got to a point where I ended up, gaining weight again.
yeah,
And I think 2015, I sort of didn't try at all.
yeah,
And then 2016, I ended up doing like a juice fast after watching that Netflix thing, Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead. And I think I lost about 18 kilos doing that. But then I, went back up again. And when
yeah,
I think we met at the end of 2016.
yeah. Would have been. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got to a really bad place. Like I smashed out 23 kilos in 10 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, but I wasn't eating, man. I wasn't
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah.
I'd go days without food
Yeah. That's not good.
because I'm like, I can't fucking eat protein anymore. I can't
Yeah.
do it. There's got to
Yeah.
be another way. And
I can't do tuna.
yeah,
I cannot look at a tin of tuna. So, and yet I know tuna's great for me because every time I'd eat a tin of tuna, in my mind I could feel the fat getting eaten away. But
yeah.
now it's got to be a really tough day in paradise or a great day in paradise for me to open up a tin of tuna.
So have you done much research since losing the weight and the
Uh,
organisation that we both did?
I think the biggest thing around weight loss and has to do. I mean, most programs will work, from what I can gather. So, and most of them make some sense. Yeah, I mean, on a recent podcast, you talked about energy out and energy in, right? That
Which
works. That's
it
the basis of Weight Watchers. So that
that's
works. You've got Atkins, which works. You got keto, which works. The programs itself work. It's what happens between the inches between our ears that's the challenge because we
well,
sabotage ourselves.
this is what really gets me angry. And when I discovered calories in versus
Yeah,
calories out, calorie deficit, like now when I hear people talking about weight loss, I have to bite my tongue because it just makes me so angry. Because things like Atkins, things like keto,
yeah,
they all work the same. You have to
yeah,
be in a calorie deficit.
yeah,
You can gain weight on keto. You can
yeah,
gain weight on Atkins. And that's what really fucking pisses me off with these weight loss companies and weight loss shakes. They
yeah,
say, do this to lose weight. Like, no one's missing weight loss shakes. That's not the reason why you're overweight. You consume, excuse me, too many calories over a
yeah,
long period of time.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm just going to do a quick Google search so I can read it word for word because, people
yeah,
bang on about insulin and fucking unless you're a type 1 diabetic, you don't need to worry about your insulin being low or cutting out sugar. Like, I think the people that lose the weight and maintain it are the people that keep it off because they haven't
Yeah.
restricted. And
Yeah.
eating protein 6 meals a day, I got a really, I was afraid of carbs. I was
Yep.
so afraid of carbs, and
Yep.
you eat fucking 6 days a week, you're eating protein, and then you get this cheat meal. Like, it gave me the biggest fucking anxiety because I would literally,
Yeah.
I would write down what I was going to eat.
Yeah.
And I look back
Wow.
now, I'm like, that's stupid because you're restricting yourself from the things you love. And I just fucking go nuts on all
Yeah.
the food I couldn't have.
Yeah. So you're thinking about everything that you can't have instead of, yeah, it's 100% how you live with a mindset, and the mindset really is one of, in respect of the food that we eat is for our fuel. It should fuel us, but too many people find solace and satisfaction in food. I know I do. I enjoy the odd occasional beer. I
And
know beer,
there's nothing wrong with that. And
and
that's
but I know beer's not good for my COVID belly at the moment. So
all
it's about trying to understand how it all fits and then living a life that's going to be authentic. So
driving past the gym yesterday. Do you want to lose the COVID kilos? Oh, it made me so fucking angry.
yeah,
So I'm going to read this here. This is the
yeah,
definition.
yeah,
Metabolism is the process by which your body converts what you eat and drink into energy.
yeah,
And there's these fucking weight loss people that speed up your metabolism. You don't need to speed it up.
yeah,
If you're eating 3,000 calories a day and only burning 2,000,
yeah.
you're not going to lose weight no matter how
Yeah.
fast your metabolism is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a world that's wrought with people looking for a quick fix.
It is.
And wanting to solve a problem, but the reality is, I'm quite open. I've put on a bit of weight since my days with that particular company, and I know that something has to fundamentally change if I'm going to get some of that weight off again. But so I know the process, but the thing that has to change is my approach to it. So
yeah, and so when we first met and we had breakfast, yeah, I wasn't eating. I was not eating, and I didn't tell anyone. I think maybe one or two people knew. Like, I kept it very quiet. People had their what's the word? They thought, what's the word I'm trying to? They had their suspicions.
yeah,
Because I was probably losing it very, very quick in a very
Yep.
short period of time.
Yep.
Like, I'd go days without eating. My longest not eating was like 9 days.
yeah.
And because I'm like, I can't fucking eat protein. There's got to be another, a better way to lose weight.
And because we demonize carbs and you can't eat protein, well, there's not much choices left then.
Pretty much that's what I got down to. I'm like, I went from eating protein a day, cheat meals, being afraid of carbs, to then a juice thing, to then gaining the weight back. And why people go from weight loss thing to weight loss thing is because every diet works. It's just how long you can sustain it for. And
and that comes back to our approach and our mindset. Interesting when we talk about mindset. I know when I was at that, that stage where I was in the low 80s and I was doing, body sculpt programs that were part of that company that we were part of. But it was really interesting because I was walking around and internally I was identifying with the fact that I was, 82.1, because the point's always very important, isn't it, when you're losing weight?
It is.
I'm 82.4 or 82.3. And then I was thinking, okay, I'm wearing a medium size shirt. I've got the pants are a 32. So instead of me being Tony, I was 82.1 in a pair of 32 shorts and wearing a medium shirt.
Yeah,
that was how I was identifying with myself.
Yeah, I remember that. And I got to 87.9. So yeah,
87.9. You got to. It's not 88. No, fuck that. I'm 87.9.
Exactly.
But once it's a mindset scenario that you've just it can really fuck you over if you really you lose your identity, and that's one of the biggest challenges. You've got to find that healthy balance in your life where you do have that. If you're one of those people in the world that don't have to lose weight, that's awesome. If you've got that balance already right, that's wonderful and beautiful. I would say the vast majority of people in the world probably could lose maybe a little bit or become more healthy and more active. And you've just got to find time to do it. You can't use excuses. You can't get on the piss if you've had a bad day. You can't go eat a chocolate cake just because someone yelled at you at work or something. Because that's the behaviours that keep us bound in those things. So,
But even, I'm not dissing you here, but even you saying chocolate cake, foods, like, there is no good and bad food. And that's,
a whole
like
chicken,
a whole chicken, a whole
Yeah.
fucking tub of broccoli.
A whole
chicken.
chicken. I don't know if a tub of broccoli is going to hurt you a great deal, but fucking hell, you'd be good to get through a tub of it, I tell you.
Fucking hell.
I'd have to put some cheese sauce on it, I reckon.
Yeah. Have some broccoli with your cheese sauce. So yeah, I went from, I think, was it 120 kilos to 97.
Yeah.
And then obviously I couldn't not eat anymore. I stayed the same usually throughout 2017. I stayed the same, still not knowing about calories, had no idea.
Yeah.
And 2018 was when I was like, all right, I really need to do some research now. And at the same time, keto was popping up on my feed, and I was like fucking diving into keto. I never did it because, one, I was misinformed about what I thought it was. I thought it was just because, the organisation we did, that company, you couldn't eat fat. You had to eat the lean meat, which is what I always did. And then I thought keto was, oh yeah, you can eat the full fat burgers, the full fat sausages. But I come across this guy on YouTube who had lost a lot of weight, and calories in versus calories out. And then I started just going through this other rabbit hole of calorie deficit and what it was. And for anyone that doesn't know, a calorie, all it is a unit of measurement. It's just like money. It's just like money. You can't earn $2,000 a week and save $3,000.
Yeah.
So... And I was like, oh my God. And look, binging, we all binge from time to time. I've sort of realized that, we all well, it depends what you call binging. Like I said, back in the day with the old cheat meal, I'd go nuts because I just restricted myself. Then when I learned about calories, I was like, what? I can eat carbs, I can eat chocolate.
Yeah.
So I got to a really good, I was doing pretty well. I only lost about 10 kilos, but I did that eating chocolate, like eating carbs, and I fucking live on chocolate. But, not for very long because I knew, a Mars bar's about 254 calories, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm still hungry after I eat that, so I'm going to eat, chicken or steak or whatever. And then, it was good. And then I started, gaining weight in 2018. I've struggled since. I've made excuses, and but since we've spoken last, I've lost 5 kilos, which is good. Now that things are open, it's just my mental health's just gone up, and I'm out hiking, I'm out skateboarding, and that's a very important thing. Like, if anyone out there wants to, there's a couple of personal trainers I'm going to name drop here on Instagram. There's at James Smith PT, The Fitness Chef, and Sciat Fitness. They're all great blokes I follow. And I think personal trainers, some of them, most of them, they're good because, the weight loss industry makes me angry. And I remember when I learned about calories, I spoke to a few people
Yeah.
in that organisation that we were a
Yeah.
part of, and I said, "Hey, did you gain weight?" And they took it the wrong way, and then that got to the creator of the organisation, and I got a phone call from him, and I was just like, "Okay, whatever, I'm done." I was trying to do my own research because I think a lot of people that did that did gain the weight, and
Yeah.
now I understand why.
Well, the world's getting fatter and the industry's growing. So what does that tell you? So
Yeah, exactly. And like, there's just so many like weight loss bullshit myths out there. Like, what's the best exercise for weight loss? How do you lose belly fat? Like,
yeah,
you can't say to your body, "I want to lose it from there," or
your
it is about.
your mind's a pretty powerful thing, but I don't know if it's that powerful.
No, it's not.
Otherwise, all of us men would be walking around incredibly happy with other parts of our body if we could
Yeah,
just change the size based on what we
yeah,
were thinking.
exactly. And I
Yeah,
think you need to find an exercise that you love,
yeah,
just like eating the foods that you love. But
yeah,
I track my calories. I've done it enough now to not track if I wanted to, but I
yeah,
still track to keep myself accountable.
yeah,
And I love hiking. I love going out on a skateboard. Like,
yeah.
that's being active. Like, people think swimming or running's good for weight loss, but if you hate running, you're not going to stick to it.
Well, there's a guy out there. He's called the 300-pound runner, and he's a really cool dude, and he's created a community called the Slowest Fuck Runners. So his brand is Slow AF. So
Yeah,
and he's got the turtle on it and whatnot. So, but he's been in the spotlight now for years. He runs because he wants to run. He doesn't run
yeah,
to lose weight, and he's still a big boy. And one of the interesting things about him, and when you talk about the concept of personal branding, I was on a subway on a train in Tokyo, and I'm
yeah.
looking up at the screen, and there's an ad for Adidas coming on, and there's this guy, the slowest fuck runner, the big 300-pound kilo African American dude, running sponsored by Adidas.
For
So,
those that don't live in Queensland, we also pronounce it Adidas.
well, I call it Adidas. So,
Adidas.
Adidas. But yeah, very interesting, and that shows you the power of what you can do when you are authentic and when you are what you are. No one's pinpointing this guy as the world's best body, and he's certainly not doing that. But he's resonated with this whole group of people who don't run fast. So
Yeah.
he's built a brand. He's
See,
sponsored by some of the majors. Away he goes. He's
see,
laughing.
you love running, don't you, Tony?
It's not my favorite thing to do, but I enjoy it
You
because,
enjoy it.
I enjoy it because the challenge it brings.
Yeah.
There's less than 1% of people in the world have completed a marathon, right? So less than 1%. I'm
Yeah.
in that, and I've completed 4 now. So
Well, yeah.
it's always a stretch, and every marathon I've done, you get to about that halfway mark, and you're thinking, I don't know if I can keep going. I don't know if this is the one that I'm going to miss. I'm not going to finish this one, and then all of a sudden you get rid of the inner sook. That's just my inner sook coming out saying, "This is hard. This is hard," and you just go. And it's like everything in life. Once it gets hard, you either say, "Oh well, it's too fucking hard. Where's the cheat sheet?" Or you say, "No, bugger it. I'm going to get through it."
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't say it's my most favourite thing in the world, but I do
Yeah.
enjoy the challenge that it brings because you've got to overcome that. And if you don't overcome it, you've got to live with yourself. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Do
yeah.
your legs ever give way?
Oh, mate, my calves are shocking. And once again, we're talking about the reality of weight loss. I'm probably carrying maybe 10, 15 more than what I would like.
Yeah.
So the reality is all of that. And if I haven't got my core muscles strong and if I haven't got my glutes strong, all of that is being held together by these tiny little fucking calf muscles. So
Yeah.
no wonder they go, no wonder they tear, no wonder they pop, because they're just saying, guys, I'm sick of doing all the work. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think one thing I learned from weight loss is mental progress matters too.
yeah,
Like, I went from being afraid of carbs
yeah,
to actually really enjoying them and not being afraid anymore. Like, when I
yeah,
lost that 10 kilos,
yeah.
having chocolate in my diet, I'm like,
Mate, that's pretty cool.
yeah, I'm like, and that sort of just wiped out this good and bad food. Like, I was having a conversation with a guy the other day I think he's lost 20 kilos this year, and I was explaining calories. This is why I don't say a fucking thing to anyone anymore, unless we're on a level like this, because
Yeah,
I was explaining. I said calories are calories. Like 100 calories in a Mars bar is the same as chicken. I was saying to him like this is how how many Mars bars I've had. I know there's 254 calories in a Mars bar, and I was explaining to him. I said if you've got a Mars bar of 254 calories, or you've got a plate of chicken and vegetables, there's no good or bad choice. Just if you eat the chicken and vegetables, you're probably going to feel more filling because you've got the protein.
yeah.
It's a larger meal rather than a Mars bar, but there's nothing wrong with having a Mars bar. He turned around and go, "Oh no, chicken's bad." Fuck chicken. Chicken's bad for fuck's sake, he reckons.
Well, he's
And
probably a vegan or an animal activist. Is that
well,
what?
I just think if people have lost weight not eating, say, chicken, they think
Yeah,
chicken's bad. They demonize it.
yeah, yeah,
Like I drink Coke, no sugar, and people think that's bad or that's bad.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like was saying earlier, I track my calories, and there's probably a small percentage of people that track their calories who are gonna get an eating disorder, who are gonna become really
Mm,
obsessive with it.
yeah, yeah,
I don't track sauces or butter or things like that.
yeah.
But for like the larger population, this tracking calories is going to be fine.
And there's always going to be that person that gets obsessive. Absolutely. I know people that weigh their meals. I know people are talking macros and micros. We've got the keto. I mean, ultimately, you've got to find what's something that's going to work and something that's going to fit in with your life. You cannot allow a diet to overrule everything, and you can't always say, I can't eat that. That's bad.
That's why
Because,
I hate
yeah,
keto. That's why I
yeah,
fucking hate keto. Like, there's this guy, this is an Australian comedian, and someone seen him in Woolworths, right, and took a photo of him. And on the conveyor belt, it was where you take your trolley through. There was like wheat bix or something. And this
yeah,
comedian does keto. He lost weight on keto,
yeah,
and he posted the photo, I think, or someone posted it, and someone commented, "Oh, did you get yourself some wheat bix? Did you?" He's like, "Nah, man, I'm keto." Like, the fact that you've got to
defend
justify
it.
it,
Yeah,
even though it
justified.
even though it wasn't his cereal, but
Yeah,
even that's why I fucking hate keto. People that do
and
keto can
who
fuck
gives
off.
that person the right to do that? To
Yeah,
point the finger and judge. I mean, that's just bullshit. So,
and I
I
know I've been a fucking asshole in my mind to people. If someone says I'm doing keto, and
yeah,
then they're eating bread, in my mind I'm like, aren't you keto? Why are you eating bread? And that's why restrictive diets are fucking stupid, and you won't stick to it. You won't. Like the thing that we did, the protein. I did
yeah,
that. I did that for let's just say 4 years. 4 years. You think that would be sustainable? 4 years,
yeah,
but it's not. It's not, because it led me to fucking having really bad
yeah,
anxiety when it came to carbs. It
yeah,
come to me getting in arguments with people over eating pasta, and
yeah,
where calories in, calories out, you choose the foods you
yeah,
want. Like,
yeah,
meal plans are fucking stupid, because if I create a meal plan for you, I'm
yeah,
pretty much telling you what I like to eat, not what you like
yeah,
to eat.
yeah. And things like 12-week challenges, 13-week challenges, 8-week challenges, they've all got an end date, and the whole point of having a healthy life is to not have an end date. You want to live as long as you can, and you want to have a healthy, sustainable thing. Hey, Maddie, we've run out of time. I did say half an hour. We've actually gone 10 minutes over already. So I've got to run. As you know, I've got a really crook back. As always.
All good, mate.
Always good to see you. Get
You too,
passionate
buddy.
about that bloody weight loss. It's good to see you out and
Fuck
about.
yeah.
It's always good to see you. Maybe next time I may not be in so much pain, but it's been good having a chat. It's been good having a laugh.
It's been good, mate. It's been good.
Episode 9 in the can. So click that subscribe button. Do your feedback. Send it to people you don't like. We had our first negative 1-star review.
I was just about to thank him. I was just about to thank you for the 1-star review. Seriously, that person, I want to thank you because it's a reflection on you that you've had to go out of your way to give us a 1-star review.
We made an impact.
Better. We did.
Yep. There's people out there not making an impact. We're making an impact. We've got a 5-star and a 1-star, so we're on our way. So,
we are.
all right, Matty, until next time, you take care.
Right. You too, mate. See ya.